Can you use my phone?
Feel like okay. They are joining us virtually, and some will be watching YouTube and
On
Facebook
Facebook Live as well.
Live. Yes.
Can you share first? So maybe we are controlling this. I started this one and I want to go so that you only the camera. You understand? How about the link?
Go to YouTube.
The Zoom
You
link?
need a camera and also broadcast it. You should just connect it. It's like it.
But because put it on the phone first. Nothing. This is Zoom. So Mr. Wajid, we can start.
Thank you. Thank you, Hafsat. Good morning, everybody. It's great to see you all again, as always, smiling faces. Uh, Always great to come back to Jokings. I mention always that Jokings is one of our key partners in Nigeria. You have head office based in the UK, so that's a huge advantage for us. We have more sort of regular communication with your team in the UK, and thank you for being promoting us all the time. This time, it's not only me. As you know, my name is Wajid Ali. I work as a regional manager for West Africa and Pakistan at the University of Gloucestershire. But this time, I'm glad to share that Professor Tobin, sitting next to me, one of my colleagues from the School of Creative Arts, is also with me. So it's a great advantage to have Tobin on this trip also. He will be happy to talk about the academic stuff we do offer as a university. So Tobin will introduce himself, but I think the great thing is that he belongs to Nigeria and he's originally from Nigeria. So it's great to have him like as part of our team. I think that can help us a lot in terms of doing more effective business within this Nigerian market and benefiting Nigerian students to fulfill their educational dreams, study abroad dreams. So, yeah, so thank you once again. Um, what is the format of SARS? Do I need to say a few things and then talk with them, say, and then we take questions, or what is the format?
Yeah, maybe you can just start with introducing University of Gloucestershire for those people that are just getting to know about University of Gloucestershire.
Sure.
Then Professor Tobin can then
Okay.
continue.
So, University of Gloucestershire. I mean, I do understand that choosing a right university is a bit challenging because there are 120 universities in UK, for example, and you have thousands of universities maybe in Europe, Americas, Australia, Canada. It's always hard to choose a right university for you. So, what strength we have as a university is that uh, we are located very strategically. If you look at the location, we are west of England, right in the middle of five, six big. Like London is 90 minutes from us, Birmingham is 1 hour, Bristol is half an hour, like Cardiff is like 45 minutes, Reading, Oxford is like 45 minutes. So the first thing I would say about us is location within England. We are a university based in southwest of England. So if you are looking to study in the UK, I think this is one of the best locations for you because it gives you more wider sort of connectivity with big cities, so you can ultimately fulfill your educational dreams as well as your career dreams if you want to work professionally in the UK. So I would say that location is a huge advantage we have as a university. And number two, I would say the affordability. I do understand, it's very hard now to afford to go abroad and study because it has become very expensive, especially because of the depreciation in Naira. I can understand that it is maybe three, four times more expensive compared to this point last year. So I understand that most of the Nigerian students now they are looking for more affordable options, and the reason is that we are offering the fee you will pay will be around £12,000. So after scholarship, I think the fee is very competitive. So £12,000, I'm sure that you will agree, it's very competitive compared to many of the UK universities. Uh, so we are also offering £1,500 automatic fee discount for that is for everybody. So everyone who is coming to this university will get £1,500 fee discount. Then £5,000 scholarship is separate, which you can apply for. So I think affordability also comes with the living cost. So maybe Tobin will also explain better. This area where the university is very kind of affordable in terms of living cost. So the accommodation you can find for up to £500 a month. As you know that in many other UK cities, for example, now the accommodation may cost you £1,000, £1,200, but at this place it is up to £500-600 a month. So the accommodation cost, the living cost is very reasonable. And then we have part-time job opportunities. I understand that the Nigerian students are looking for part-time job opportunities during the studies. So this area, this region is very affluent economically. So there are a number of job opportunities, part-time job opportunities available. Most of our students they are into a part-time job within 2 to 3 weeks after starting their courses. So you can get part-time jobs. You can get a very reasonable priced accommodation and living. You can have a good living cost like compared to many of the UK parts. And ultimately, you may get scholarship and you're paying less fee. So this whole package, this whole thing actually makes it more affordable for Nigerian students. So then after that, now including B8, which is a doctorate in education, and we are offering PhD programs. So I understand again that many Nigerians now they're looking for research courses because they want to take their families with them. So we could be an option for these students also. We are offering PhD, a good range of PhD courses, DBA, MS, and some other research courses. And the good thing about our DBA and some PhD courses and MS is, PhD courses is that we are charging same fee to like we charge to home students. For example, the DBA, the fee is only £8,200, and for PhD D8, for example, the fee is only £4,500. So it's a local fee at the end of the day. So you can get again benefit from in terms of this low fee, tuition fee. So that is very much about the University of Gloucestershire. We will carry on, but I will hand over to Tobin now so he can talk briefly about the courses we offer, the academic strength we offer as an institution, and maybe anything else we would like to. So, over to Tobin.
Morning, everyone. My name is, I've got a very long name, but it's best to call me Tobi. I've got a very long name. I'm from Port Harcourt, University of Port Harcourt, but I've been away for a while. I left Nigeria 20 years ago. After my secondary school is when I left and I had to go to. And ever since I've been there and went into academia after my PhD. That was about 8 years ago. So I've been teaching around different universities in the UK, about 8 universities in the UK, Coventry, I've taught in Coventry, Gordon, and a couple of universities. So over time, what I have done is to take a couple of my industry experience and also my team experience and try to incorporate that into a lot of my teaching. And if you look at a lot of the courses which we do offer here, these are all courses that, especially the ones around the construction industry, those are courses that I have designed myself. I did design them. I did validate those courses with professionals in the industry. So the courses you have here are all industry relevant, where it prepares all international students for the industry. Okay, so it's not just coming to learn the theoretical aspect of things. So it's more of hands-on practical. All right. So that's what I do in a lot of the courses I have designed. I have introduced Emirates into a lot of the built environment courses. So I'm going to talk more about Emirates because from my conversation yesterday, I discovered that a lot of people didn't know the difference between an MSc and
Emirates.
Emirates and also a PhD. Use a layman term to explain this. So if it's an MSc, all right, as a lecturer, I'm going to set some sort of assessments. I'm going to have a class with you. You sit down, you learn, I give you these assessments. If you pass my assessments, you're being offered an MSc. Okay. While a master's in research, which is Emirates, is something it's more of a self-taught. Okay. So an example could be it's more of developing a framework. I'm going to explain that in layman term. So an example, if I were to build this phone, okay, you need to do a bit of research to know the step-by-step of how to build this, what is needed, okay? So if I spend a bit of time to look at the different components on how to build a phone, and I write it down, okay, I have taught myself on developing the steps on how to build a phone, okay? But if I now build this, write down the steps, go build this phone and test it, that's a different ballgame. All right. So if I write down the steps and put that as a report to you, that's a master's in research. But if I write down the steps, go build this phone, test this phone, and it works, that's a PhD. Can you see the difference? Okay. You don't have to come up with any new prototype. So we call that prototypes and frameworks. Frameworks are more of like step by step on how to do things, while the prototype are you creating something from the scratch and making it work. Okay. So a lot of Emirates is going to be more of self-taught. However, you're going to be getting support from the lecturers. So at the moment, I've got about 5 PhD students I'm currently supervising. I also try to mentor them. So what I do is I don't just let you come and do a PhD, and I try to provide some support where at the moment I'm off work for 2 weeks. I'm off again next week. I had to get my PhD students to come a couple of my sessions for the undergrad, telling them to cover 1 or 2 modules within the different courses. So that helps them build their knowledge on how to teach, understand the content, begin to build that career in teaching. All right, so those are part of the mentoring program I provide. And also what I tend to do for a couple of them, especially international students, is that I've been in a position. Back then in 2004, 2005, it was better. There was a company called Better. I paid about 25,000 naira down then to get admission. All right, so I understand your plight. I know what they sort of go through in terms of coming to a new location, getting a job, trying to settle in. So what I tend to do is I try as much as possible to have this informal conversation with a lot of international students where I bring them into my office. So I have an open door policy where you can pop into my office any day, anytime, and sort of speak to me. If you've got any personal problems, I try to support them. I tend to do things like mock interviews with them to go get a job. Now, on my MSc course on the construction project management, there are about 12 of them on that course. It's all international students from Sri Lanka, India, Nigeria, Nepal. Okay, so we have a lot of them, and out of that 12, 8 of them are in full-time employment at the moment in the UK. So I have spent a bit of time going through each of their CV and trying to build what we call a personal statement and trying to get them into the industry. So at the moment, they are all working full time before the new law came into place where you really cannot do any conversion while you're. So that's what I should have done. Then, in terms of the PhD ones, I'm also open to taking PhD applicants. I can also support you in terms of that's going to be free of charge. I'm not charging anything. I don't charge for admission. So what I can do is that if you've got any candidate that wants to do a PhD, what I can do is to give feedback on the proposal before the main application goes in. All right. So because in research, we try to be very specific in research. An example could be if you want to, you can decide to say, all right, I want to do an investigation around the whole Nigeria to know how many men wear black shoes. Is that possible? Why? It's too big. That means you need to go to every state, villages to find how many. All right. Okay. What if I say I want to do a PhD to look at only just men that wear black shoes in Abuja? What do you think? Big. Because the whole of Abuja. But when you begin to look at one part of Abuja, Gwagwalada or somewhere, it's still very big. But if you come up to me and say, okay, I want to look around the street, I've sort of funneled that down to a specific area, which becomes very realistic to do. All right. So I also support, I can look at your proposal and try to see if it's very vague and try to help you streamline down to a specific area before you submit your application. Yeah, that's the sort of support I'm going to be providing to a lot of candidates that want to join the University of Gloucestershire. So I don't think they've got the access to the portal for admission. Yeah. So for the Emirates one, I can also provide some sort of informal support in the way where now I've got to be off the camera. I can still say this. So we understand that a lot of international students are not research inclined in the sense that the way of teaching here is a bit different from the way. I think here at some point you need to take your coursework to a business center for them to type and you get that photocopied and something. So over there you do everything yourself. Like my PhD was 80,000 words. I had to type them myself, which came up to about 300 pages of documents, typed myself, designed myself. So in terms of that, what I tend to do is try to sort of provide that support for them to begin to understand how the UK works. Because it's very vital for every student to understand. And there's a bit of flexibility. So in the context of my teaching, I discovered that 100% one or two for inspired for whatever it happens. So I try to make a lot of my sessions or my classes very flexible, where I teach twice a week. So that twice a week gives you about 4 days to do other things while you're all right. So in terms of Gloucestershire University, I think we've got a lot to offer. And I just decided to join the team. I think I joined 2 years ago, and I'm more than happy to work with a lot of the agencies to ensure we get the relevant support and get the right students to us. For the Emirates, what you can do is that if you've got candidates that want to come on the Emirates course, you can get maybe not really like a confirmation from me, but you can just sort of get my opinion about, because you need to provide some sort of proposal to. So you can send a proposal to me and say, what do you think about this proposal for this particular student? Then I could maybe give you 1 or 2 pointers to say, okay, approach it this way, ask the potential candidate to do it this way. It makes it a lot smoother for us. Now, at the same time, I also try as much as possible that candidates don't waste your time and don't waste their time. All right, they're going to come up with some unrealistic to send that across to me, and we look at that. Some students will come with things like BSc in history. I want to come and do an MSc in construction. That's really tell. That's too different. It's just far apart. It doesn't really make sense. But a lot of students want to do that. We can sit down and sort of advise them.
Most of those students, maybe their first degree was in another field, but they had relevant work experience in construction.
Yeah, so we're coming to that. That's 10 o'clock in the morning. We had like 2 hours rest and straight to a couple of interviews with some candidates in Lagos. I was supposed to decline the application from day one, but for some reason I just picked on the application. The candidate had finished her BSc from Yaba Polytechnic or something. Yeah, and it was I think it was HND or something. That was in 2021. But I just decided to give this candidate a try by having a conversation with the candidate yesterday. I was amazed to discover that she had so much knowledge about about the subject area. I made it an instant decision to give her an offer, to make her an offer. All right, so this is solely dependent on the interviews I tend to, because when I have an interview with you and I discover you're just everywhere, then I know you haven't made the decision to want to study, or you don't really know what you want to do. The same thing with a couple of students that came to the hotel yesterday. We did spend a bit of time to sort of advise them on the courses that are relevant to them. It's not just jumping into any course. I also think about the future for the student, because it's not just I want to come to the UK, I want to come to the UK. What happens after that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm really after. So I'll be very transparent with you and tell you the truth and say, okay, no, this is not going to pay you, or follow this way. So in terms of the ones with HNDs, top class, I don't just throw them away. I still give them room for interviews, just to sort of understand the level of knowledge around the subject area. Now, in terms of experience, we look about 5 to 7 years. That's the requirement. That will compensate for your degree, maybe your HND, your third class. But we don't know what's going to happen if you attend and I discover your knowledge, you have a good level of knowledge in that subject area. I'm more than happy to put that through.
Can you do this for every student, every applicant, you get to
All right.
interview them?
So I focus more on every applicant that come to the built environment, which is the construction industry. Yeah, but we're going to be having a couple of meetings where when we go back, a couple of feedback we need to take back to the university on how we deal with application and how we deal with decision making in terms of application for the different candidates around the world. Now, with the Emirates, I just want to make that clear in case we have anyone watching online. The Emirates is going to be more, it's just the same requirements as the MSc, but you need just a proposal. Yeah. But I can work with any candidate to line that proposal to meet the relevant requirements for that topic. I hope that helps.
That has a first degree um, in education.
Okay.
Then he did his master's in international relations.
Okay.
Now he wants to do a DBA in Gloucestershire.
Do what?
A DBA.
DBA.
That possible.
What was his grades for the first degree?
It was an upper.
Oh, but that's going to be a 2-1. What's his level of experience?
I think now he's in the. I think he's a soldier.
When did he complete his studies, his first degree?
When
When did he complete his first degree?
first degree, what's that?
What year? I need to, because anything around 2019, 2018, that's still very fresh. So, yeah. So
So for
it's
the
a bit tricky,
Emirates,
but just there's no harm in trying, just apply and we can look into that.
so we don't just waste time applying and then.
So, I'd rather ask that if it's a BSc, right, a first degree, then maybe he can go for an Emirates if possible, if he's ready to do a research, because Emirates is quite daunting in terms of you teaching yourself and researching. So you're more of looking at what people have done and trying to use that to formulate a framework or an idea into something.
Mr. Wajid, what are the eligibility criteria for postgraduate merit scholarship? Scholarship.
There is no as such defined criteria, but practically it is a 3 prongs kind of strategy we look into. The one is like depending on the number of applications for scholarship we have received. So, for example, if we are offering 100 scholarships and we have received 500 applications, so that means we have to have some criteria to shortlist for the awards. So, ideally, I think 2-1 upper second division should be okay. Anybody who is applying, ideally, they should be having upper second division. But then we also take into consideration the work experience, or maybe they have done something like on the extracurricular side of it. They may have done something extraordinary within their field. So we will also take that into consideration. So academic grades is one thing, then work experience is the second thing. Then anything beyond that, that might be like any extracurricular activity, that might be any portfolio kind of stuff. We can also take that into consideration. So it's a mix of these three elements. So I would say that please do encourage people to apply for scholarships. Now the deadline for scholarships is 30th April, 2 weeks time. So you must have to have an offer from the university to apply for scholarships. And you have
Conditional
to,
offer, right? A conditional offer.
yes, conditional offer is fine. They can apply with conditional offer, but they need to apply separately. It's not automatic. They have to apply separately, as the information is already on our website. First, if you go to university website information. So that is very much about the scholarship criteria. I don't know if Tobin would like to add.
Yeah, I come from the aspect of the research because I happen to be a researcher as well. So a lot of candidates may be working in the industry, currently working, and they might find what we call an action research. Action research is while working on the job, you discover a problem, okay, and try to see how you want to solve that problem. All right. So that could now become your research. You can put that as an MLS. You can use that to apply for an MLS. If you can make your proposal look very much like it's coming from an angle of an action research while working, this is a problem you discover. You're trying to come up with a strategy on how to deal with this. That could be one of the criteria for to look into to say, like, let's see the outcome of what's going on with this particular problem. All right. So that could be an eye-catching one for really reviewers to take into consideration while doing the scholarship.
Sorry, can you give the deadline for the scholarship? The deadline.
So deadline, 30th April.
Is it not like offer 28?
Is it
28 or
This 30th,
30th?
just 2 weeks from now. Last Thursday. Yeah. It's only 2 weeks, yeah.
Okay, the students going for this MRS, are they eligible to apply for,
Dependent.
no, the, what's it called? The postgraduate merit scholarship? Are they eligible? Can they apply?
This is only for taught programs.
Oh, for thought program,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
For the, as I mentioned earlier, for DBA, for example, or DA, then PhD fee is only £12,000. So especially for PhDs, I think our fee is unbeatable. I don't think any other UK university will charge that much. Like for doctorate in education, it's only £4,500. For DBA, sorry, doctorate in business administration, it's only for now it's only 8,000.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah, so
fee
there's
is
also
already,
okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
There's also an opportunity for you to join the university in full-time employment on completion.
Okay,
Yeah,
for
for
PhD?
PhDs, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so what we tend to do is that we sort of just what I said earlier, we try to mentor him into that. And what we will do is I go back to the students to get what we call a feedback. How has this person performed? And this feedback now can be taken to the HR to say, okay, could we get either a part-time employment for the student on a 20 hours contract to teach ABC, then while the person is doing that on successful completion, he or she knows that in detail, then we can now absorb that person, not just one, not just two. Because every lecturer is entitled to teach just about 4 modules in total. We have over 300 modules to teach for different courses. So you might just end up, okay, as a PhD student, you know a particular module very well. The university might just absorb you permanently, and you own that module and teach that module for how long you want. And we also tend to provide sponsorships for that.
So the teaching is it really for the PhD students or
For this PhD, and sometimes your problem is turnaround time for you to get a lecturer's education through. So for you guys, what's the turnaround time when you put it on?
So I have just jumped onto the wagon now to help to review. Yeah. So if it's relevant to the built environment, I can make a decision in 24 hours.
So, Mr. Wajid, well, how about our DBA applicants? DBA applicants, DBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the turnaround time? Because we submitted one application and I noticed they requested for the students' proposal, which was sent, I think, about last 2 weeks. And so this moment, we've not gotten any positive feedback from them.
I think for DBA, as Tobi mentioned, the problem with DBA is that we have a gentleman called Dr. Ellen Morgan. He is the program leader for DBA. But what is happening is that DBA has become very, very popular because there are only few UK universities, including us, like offering DBA. So there is a flood of applications coming to DBA now. And it's only one person who has to look into each and every application. Unfortunately, that is what delaying the process somehow. But we are trying to be as quickest as possible. But I would say that give it at least 4 weeks before you hear back from us. It again depends on the research topic, number of elements. Sometimes it's straightforward and maybe Alan can decide in 5 minutes. But sometimes he has to consult maybe with other colleagues and in a wider way. So I think that is what I would say about DBA. But on turnaround time, I think as a university, we are very, very conscious about this whole thing. We do understand that we have to be quick, we have to be competitive, and as you may appreciate that we have improved a lot during the last 12, 18 months. For example, the cash shield is now there, and as you guys know that because of enrolling cash shield, I think the admission process is quite streamlined now compared to last year. So we are doing things whatever we can, but please always keep reminding us that the turnaround time is very important.
Yeah.
And any feedback if you have any one specific case where you think the DB application has gone beyond 4 weeks and it has been delayed for months, then we are always happy to look into. But the good thing about DBA is that we have multiple intakes. So maybe if, for example, some late response for September intake or maybe January intake, maybe then they can come in April intake. So there is a very kind of small gap between intakes. So maybe if somebody does not get an offer for one intake, maybe immediately they can move to next intake. So that is a good news that we have multiple intakes for DBA. So that means that you should not stay away from applying. Please apply as soon as possible, and we will make you an offer as soon as possible from our side.
Okay, just adding to just a couple of tips on how to go about this to beat the turnaround time. So what happens is that each time you put in an application for a PhD without a supervisor, they're going to take that topic, send that across to the different member of staff across the university to find who's got the knowledge to supervise that.
Yeah.
So that takes a bit of time because anybody that gets that will have to go research, is this my subject area, is this something I'd love to do, is it within my working load, then make a decision. All right, but if you want to get a quick response, is to, especially around the built environment, if you send that to me, I can give a pre-approval to say, okay, it's within my capacity to supervise this person. Then in your application, make that clear that you've had a word with this person, myself, and I'm more than happy to supervise you. That goes quickly because it comes straight to me without waiting for.
I've been mentioning this for the last couple of days that having Tobin with us now is important.
Even engineering.
When you relate that to that, discipline, you should just
Include anything that has to do with it.
When it's not related, we have to go through the other process.
You have to now go through. It depends. So if you're talking, if it's something that has to do with maybe performance in healthcare, that's got nothing to do with it. You need to go find a lecturer.
You already have information about how to apply for research degrees. In that case, you have to follow the normal process.
Yeah.
But if there is anything related to Tobin, then obviously you can. Still, I think better you apply immediately through the normal process and then inform him that you have applied for this person. Because then it's easy for him also to trace the application and do it quickly. So the first step is always like apply, and then contact him if you think he can help.
So, Mr. Wajid, can you please explain the payment plan and the initial deposits for University of Gloucestershire for those people watching?
Sure. The deposit we are asking for is like £5,500. So you have to pay the deposit initially £5,500. Get the visa, you go to UK, and by the time of enrollment, you have to pay the 40% of remaining fee. For example, if the remaining fee was, for example, £6,000, so the 40% of that £6,000 you have to pay by the time of enrollment. Then you, so £5,500 deposit, then 40% of remaining fee at the time of enrollment, and then you can pay the rest of fee in 3 installments. That is the payment plan for the University of Gloucestershire. Now, the fee on average is around £17,000. If somebody gets scholarship, they will be paying around £12,000. So, out of £12,000, for example, in that situation, you will pay £5,500, and then the rest of amount, the 40% of rest of amount, you will pay at the time of enrollment. And then the rest of amount, then you can pay in 3 installments. I hope that cleared the situation. So,
We're more like a license where we can take back your feedback to the university and say, okay, this is what amount the agents patrol would love to have for the candidates. All right.
yeah, any feedback
Any
on the
feedback
payment
on
plan
the
is,
payment plan.
is welcome. If you guys think this is not competitive and some other UK universities are offering more flexible options, then let us know.
Just let us know. Then
We will be happy to, as Tobi said, to take it back and
feed that back
talk
to
to
you.
relevant colleagues. And
Anything else?
yeah, can you stop live stream now?
Facebook.
Yeah, if there's any online question, we are happy to answer. I can't see anything on screen, but I think just to sum up, I would say that Gloucestershire is a good option for Nigerian students. We don't have many international students, to be honest, and that's a huge benefit. It's a very local university, if you like. We have 12,000 students, and hardly we have like 700-800 international students. The rest of it is like local. It's a good opportunity for Nigerian to go and mingle up with the local people and get local more English sort of exposure, which I think itself is a strong selling point.
Yeah.
Small university, very nice area to go to, and then you have very good connectivity with big cities. So it ticks all the boxes, especially for students. You go with a slow pace, settle yourself in 12 months, get a good degree, and ultimately you move to big cities if you like. The area itself economically is very affluent, and number of part-time job opportunities are there, and you can easily support your studies through the part-time job opportunities in this area. It's not very saturated, it's not very competitive because we don't have many international students, and we are the only university in the whole Gloucestershire area. That's a big benefit also. Because normally in UK, maybe you see in one area you have 3, 4, 5 universities, but we are the only university in this area, which makes us like even more attractive for international students for many good reasons.
Yeah,
So-
it's very strategic where it's just right at the center. So for Gloucestershire, you could go to Bristol, which is roughly 35 minutes. I used to live in Bristol, then I moved to Gloucester 11 months ago, and it's very, very, very cheap in terms of the cost of living. Yeah.
Living cost.
Yeah, so accommodation, if you want to buy a property, if you want to rent, it's a lot cheaper.
Then your English test, I think you guys have English. How much is it? Is it still free?
Yeah, so English test, yeah, it's a good question. So yes, we do offer English test, but the thing is you may not need it. First of all, we accept WIC. The validity is 10 years. If you have done WIC within last 10 years with C6 grade in English, you are done. You don't need to do anything else. Now, if you have done WIC for more than 10 years, Now we have second option, which is like MOI. We can accept a medium of instruction like English language proficiency letter from 50 Nigerian universities. The list of these universities is on our website. So please check if you have done your first degree from one of these universities. You don't need to do anything else. We will accept it. If you don't have these both things, then you can go for the English internal English test. Every Nigerian student is eligible for English test. It is free of cost, so it's quick fix. So if you don't have a bike, if you don't have MOI, then you can go for the test. So in any case, I think you don't need to do IELTS because you can fulfill English language requirements through these options. So that is what is all about English language requirements.
Yeah, in terms of the test, I don't want to scare anyone. The internal test is just very easy. It's going to be just an online bit where you just sit down with the tutor online and maybe discuss something. They wanted to see how fluent you are with speaking and understanding them and also writing. So you might just get maybe a task to write about something if you want to see how well you comprehend. So it's not rocket science.
Okay. Thank you.
If I'm to understand this undergraduate level scholarship correctly, the £7,900 is applicable to both the first year, second year, and third year, right?
Yes, we have to divide it over split it over the 3
Okay, you
years.
have to split the 7,000.
Yes, you have to. So £2,500 per year
Okay.
will be the award per year. Yeah. For undergrad.
That's 2,500 per year.
For undergrad, it's £7,500. That will be split over 3 years. So 2,500, 2,500, and 2,500.
I don't know if I missed that, but you mentioned something like 5,000.
That's for MS.
That's for
That's
postgrad.
for
Are there any
postgraduate.
criteria?
Yeah. So basically, criteria is like academic grades, work experience, and portfolios. But there is no as such defined criteria. Anybody who has an offer can apply.
The payment plan, right, is it applicable to both the Emirates, the THT?
Yes.
And, okay.
So,
Any concerns?
any other question? Otherwise, we stop maybe screening and we talk about our own stuff and let's separately.
You made mention of the English results. What about the NICO? You don't accept NICO, will you?
We accept NECO, yeah. Can I open a web page here? Can somebody help me?
Now see. Please call. Hold on, search for the web page. And I need to put the web page.
Thank you. Can I open